Before God shows you the right way, He will first reveal whether your heart is ready to walk in it. And maybe that is why you are here tonight. Not by accident, not because you were simply scrolling, not because this is just another message among many. Perhaps your soul is tired of asking the same questions in silence. Perhaps your heart has been whispering, "Lord, what do you want me to do? Which way should I go? Why does every door seem uncertain? Why do I feel close to a breakthrough but still unable to see clearly?" Listen carefully. Sometimes God does not hide the path because He wants to confuse you. Sometimes He delays the answer because He is preparing the person who will receive it. Sometimes the silence is not absence. Sometimes the closed door is not rejection. Sometimes the waiting is not wasted. Sometimes what feels like confusion is actually God separating your fear from your faith, your impatience from your obedience, your desire from His will. You may have prayed. You may have cried quietly when no one saw. You may have asked God for a sign, for a word, for direction, for peace before sleeping. And yet, instead of a clear road, you found silence. Instead of an open door, you faced another delay. Instead of certainty, you felt your heart being stretched. But before you conclude that God has forgotten you, understand this. The Bible shows us again and again that before God leads someone into the right way, He often tests what is inside the heart. Abraham did not receive everything at once. Joseph did not understand the prison while he was still inside it. Moses did not see the full purpose while he was hidden in the wilderness. David was anointed, but still had to return to the field. Even Jesus, before the cross, walked through surrender in prayer, saying, "Not what I will, but what you will." So tonight, this message is not here to make you afraid. It is here to comfort you with truth. Because if you are in a season where nothing seems clear, maybe God is not pushing you away. Maybe He is drawing you closer. Maybe He is teaching you to hear Him beyond your emotions, to trust Him beyond your plans, and to rest in Him even before you see the answer with your eyes. In this video, you will understand the 7 biblical tests God may allow before He shows you the right way. And as each one is revealed, you may recognize your own season. You may finally understand why that door closed, why that prayer seemed delayed, why certain people moved away, why your heart has been restless, why God has been dealing with hidden motives, and why He has been asking you to surrender what you cannot control. This is not just a message about direction. This is a moment of spiritual rest. Let your mind slow down. Let your heart breathe. Let the weight of the day fall before the presence of God. You do not need to solve everything tonight. You do not need to force the door. You do not need to carry tomorrow in your hands. The Lord who watches over you does not sleep. While your body rests, He is still working. While your thoughts become quiet, He is still guiding. While you release control, He is still preparing the way. And maybe this is the first test already. Can you trust God before you understand Him? Can you believe He is good before the answer appears? Can you rest tonight knowing that the shepherd sees the road, even when the sheep only sees the next step? Stay with this message until the end, because one of these tests may be exactly what you are living right now. And when you recognize it, your heart may stop fighting the process and start receiving the peace of God. Not a shallow peace, not a temporary emotion, but the kind of peace that enters the room like a gentle light, covers the anxious mind, strengthens the wounded heart, and reminds you that your life is not abandoned in confusion. God is not lost. God is not late. God is not silent without purpose. Before He shows you the right way, He may be preparing your faith to walk in it. And now, open your heart, because the first biblical test may explain why you have prayed so much, waited so long, and still have not heard the answer you expected. The first test is the test of silence. The test of silence, when God does not answer immediately. There are moments when the hardest thing in faith is not receiving a no. It is receiving no visible answer at all. You pray, and heaven seems quiet. You ask, and nothing changes immediately. You open your heart before God. You speak with sincerity. You confess your fear. You ask for guidance. You wait for a sign. You look for peace. And still the night feels heavy. The room is quiet. The mind keeps moving. The heart keeps asking, Lord, are you listening? Did I do something wrong? Are you far from me? Why do I feel like I am calling and not hearing you speak back? But listen with your heart tonight. The silence of God is not the absence of God. Sometimes silence is the holy place where God removes the noise that was pretending to be direction. Sometimes silence is where he separates your faith from your need to control every answer. Sometimes silence is where he teaches you to seek his presence, not only his instructions. Because many people want God to show the right way, but they do not want God to form the heart that can walk in that way. Before God shows you the right way, he may allow a season where you do not receive the answer as quickly as you wanted. Not because he is cruel, not because he is careless, not because he has forgotten your tears, but because silence reveals what urgency often hides. It reveals whether you trust God only when he explains himself. It reveals whether your faith depends on signs. It reveals whether your prayers are rooted in surrender or anxiety. It reveals whether you are seeking the Lord because you love him or only because you need him to fix what is hurting. And this is not easy. No one should pretend it is easy. Silence can feel like a desert. Silence can make a person question everything. Silence can make the soul feel alone in a crowded world. You may lie down at night while everyone else seems peaceful, but inside you there is a storm no one sees. You may smile during the day, answer messages, do your responsibilities, act strong. But when the night comes, your heart becomes honest again. And in that honesty, you ask God one more time, please show me what to do. The Bible never hides this kind of pain. David cried out, "How long, O Lord?" Job sat in confusion. Joseph waited in places he did not choose. Abraham carried a promise for years without seeing the complete fulfillment. These were not people without faith. They were people whose faith was being refined in the silence. That means silence is not always a sign that you are outside God's will. Sometimes silence is proof that God is doing something deeper than the answer you asked for. A quick answer can change a circumstance, but a holy silence can change a heart. And maybe God is not only preparing the path, maybe he is preparing your ears. Because when fear is loud, it can sound like wisdom. When anxiety is loud, it can sound like urgency. When pain is loud, it can sound like truth. And if God gave you every answer while your soul was still ruled by panic, you might confuse relief with direction. You might run toward anything that makes the pressure stop, even if it is not the road God prepared for you. So the Lord allows quietness. He allows stillness. He allows you to come closer, not just to receive an instruction, but to recognize his voice. A sheep does not learn the voice of the shepherd in a moment of noise. It learns by staying near. It learns through trust. It learns through repeated nearness. And tonight, perhaps God is bringing you close enough to stop chasing every sign and begin resting in the shepherd himself. This test asks a question that reaches deep into the soul. Can you trust God when he does not answer immediately? Can you believe he is working when you cannot measure progress? Can you rest when you cannot explain the delay? Can you keep praying when the emotion of the first prayer is gone? Can you remain faithful when the only thing you have is the character of God? Because faith that only survives with constant explanations is still fragile. But faith that can rest in God's character, even before God reveals his method, becomes strong enough to walk through doors that fear could never enter. Think about Joseph. He had dreams from God, but his life went in the opposite direction for a season. The pit did not look like a path. The prison did not look like a promise. The silence did not look like leadership. But God was not absent in any of those places. The Lord was forming Joseph in hidden rooms before placing him in a visible assignment. Think about Abraham. God called him but did not hand him every detail. Abraham had to walk with a promise before he saw the full picture. He had to become familiar with trusting God step by step. And through that journey, his faith became more than a belief. It became obedience. Think about Jesus in Gethsemane. He prayed with deep surrender. He brought his anguish before the Father. And still, the path ahead required trust. The silence of that sacred moment did not mean the Father had abandoned the Son. It meant the will of God was being fulfilled through surrender deeper than human comfort. So if tonight you are in the test of silence, do not call yourself forgotten. Do not call yourself rejected. Do not decide that your prayers are useless. Do not let the enemy turn God's quietness into an accusation against your soul. God heard you the first time. He saw the tear you wiped quickly so no one would notice. He heard the prayer you whispered when your strength was almost gone. He knows the question you are afraid to say out loud. He sees the confusion you carry. He understands the tiredness behind your faith. And even now, while you listen, the Lord is able to cover your mind with peace. So breathe. Release the pressure to understand everything tonight. Put your future back into the hands of the Father. Say within your heart, Lord, even when I do not hear the answer, I choose to trust your presence. Even when I do not see the road, I choose to believe you are guiding me. Even when silence surrounds me, I know you are still near. There is a kind of rest that comes when the soul stops demanding explanations before it receives peace. And that rest is not weakness, it is trust. It is the child laying down in the Father's house, knowing that the Father will stay awake through the night. Tonight, may your mind become quiet under the care of God. May every anxious thought lose its strength. May every fear about tomorrow bow before the Lord who already holds tomorrow. May your heart understand that silence is not the end of the story. It may be the beginning of a deeper trust. Because before God shows you the right way, He may first teach you to trust Him without hearing everything. And when your soul learns to trust Him in silence, you become ready for the next test, obeying Him even when He only shows you the next step, the test of obedience without details. There comes a moment when God does not give you the whole road. He gives you one step. And that one step may look too small for the size of your question. You asked for the full answer. You asked for certainty. You wanted to know where this season is going, how long it will last, who will stay, what will change, what door will open, what decision will bring peace. But instead of giving you the complete map, God may place one simple instruction before your heart. Forgive, wait, be still, let go, pray again, stop forcing, walk away. Begin with what is already in your hand. And this is where the second test begins, because many people say they want God's direction, but they delay obedience until God explains everything. They want the Lord to show the entire way before they take the first step. But in Scripture, God often leads His people through trust, not through total explanation. Abraham heard the call to leave, but he did not receive every detail of the destination at once. The Israelites followed the cloud by day and the fire by night, not a printed route with every stop marked. Peter had to step out of the boat before he understood what it meant to walk over the storm. Mary said yes to God before she knew the full cost of carrying what heaven had placed inside her life. This is not because God enjoys leaving His children confused. It is because He knows that if He showed the whole journey too early, fear could paralyze the heart before faith had the chance to grow. Sometimes the full picture would overwhelm you. Sometimes knowing every detail would awaken anxiety instead of trust. Sometimes God hides tomorrow not to punish you, but to protect your peace today. He gives enough light for the next step, because the next step is where obedience becomes real. And tonight, while your mind may be tired from trying to solve what only God can unfold, the Lord may be asking you a simple question. Are you willing to obey what you already know, even before you understand what comes next? Because there are prayers that remain heavy, not because God has refused to guide, but because the last instruction was ignored. The Lord may have already placed something in your conscience. He may have already touched a part of your heart. He may have already shown you what needs to stop, what needs to begin, what needs to be surrendered, what needs to be healed, what needs to be corrected. And yet, the human heart often says, "Lord, show me more," while heaven gently says, "Walk in what I have already shown you." This test is deeply personal. It does not always happen in public. It often happens in the quiet place, when no one is watching. It happens when you know you should not return to what God already delivered you from. It happens when you feel the Spirit calling you to stop feeding a thought, a habit, a relationship, a fear, a resentment, a secret dependence. It happens when God asks you to do the right thing before the right feeling arrives. Obedience without details is faith with movement. It is the moment your life says, "Lord, I do not understand everything, but I trust you enough to take the next step." And this kind of obedience brings rest to the soul, not because everything becomes easy, but because the heart stops fighting God's leadership. There is a heavy exhaustion that comes from trying to lead your own life while asking God to bless the road you chose. But there is a sacred peace that comes when you place your plans on the altar and say, "Father, I want your way more than my explanation." Maybe tonight God is not asking you to solve the next 10 years. Maybe He is asking you to obey Him in the next 10 minutes. Maybe the next step is to stop rehearsing the same fear in your mind. Maybe it is to close your eyes and rest, believing that tomorrow will have enough grace. Maybe it is to forgive someone in your heart, even if trust must be rebuilt with wisdom. Maybe it is to stop chasing a door that God has already closed. Maybe it is to return to prayer, not with panic, but with surrender. Maybe it is to become faithful in a small, hidden responsibility that seems ordinary, but is actually preparing your character. The enemy wants you trapped in the pressure of needing to know everything. God invites you into the peace of trusting the one who knows everything. There is a difference between being informed and being led. Information may tell you what is ahead, but being led means you stay close to the shepherd, even when the path bends in ways you did not expect, and the shepherd does not lose his sheep in the dark. If he is calling you to take one step, then one step is enough for tonight. If he is calling you to wait, then waiting with faith is not wasted time. If he is calling you to release control, then release is not defeat, it is worship. If he is calling you to obey quietly without applause, without confirmation from people, without guarantees, then that obedience may be the very key that opens the next season. The Bible says that His word is a lamp to our feet and a light to our path. A lamp does not show the entire mountain. It shows where to place the foot now. It gives enough light to move without being destroyed by darkness. And sometimes God does not increase the light until you walk in the light already given. So bring your restless mind before Him tonight. Let your heart stop demanding the whole map before trusting the next instruction. Say softly within your soul, "Lord, give me grace to obey the step you have already shown me. Give me courage to walk without needing to control the whole road. Teach me to follow your voice more than my fear. Teach me to trust your timing more than my urgency. And may the peace of God cover the places where uncertainty has been loud. May He quiet the questions that are not yours to carry tonight. May He strengthen your spirit to obey with humility, with calm, with confidence, and with a heart that does not need to see everything to believe that God is faithful. Because before God shows you the right way, He may test whether you can obey Him with only the next step. And when you learn to obey without having all the details, you become ready for something even deeper. Because obedience is not fully tested until God begins to remove the false supports your heart has secretly leaned on. The test of surrendering the outcome. There comes a sacred point in faith where God does not only ask you to trust the path, He asks you to trust what happens after you take it. This is the final and deepest test before direction becomes clear. Surrendering the outcome. Because many people say they are willing to follow God, but only if He guarantees the result they want. They will obey, but they still want control. They will pray, but they still want to decide the ending. They will walk by faith, but they still want every consequence explained before they move. And here, the Father gently touches the most guarded place of the heart and asks, "Do you trust me enough to release what you cannot control?" This is where faith becomes more than a sentence. It becomes surrender. You may have asked God for the right way, but perhaps beneath that prayer there was another cry. "Lord, show me the way that will not hurt. Show me the way that will not cost me anything. Show me the way that gives me certainty, approval, comfort, success, and peace, exactly as I imagined." But the way of God is not always the way that protects your preferences. It is always the way that protects your soul. And sometimes, before He reveals the next direction, He waits for your heart to stop demanding guarantees. Not because He wants to keep you afraid, but because He wants your trust to rest in His character, not in your ability to predict the future. Surrendering the outcome means saying, "Lord, I will obey you even if I do not know how people will react. I will follow you even if I cannot see how this will unfold. I will release what I wanted if you are leading me somewhere different. I will stop forcing what you have not blessed. I will stop trying to control what only your hands can hold." This is not passive. This is not weakness. This is not giving up on life. This is placing your life in the hands of the one who sees the beginning, the middle, and the end at the same time. Mary surrendered when she received a word from God that would change her entire life. She did not know every detail. She did not know every difficulty. She did not know every conversation, every misunderstanding, every cost. Yet her answer was faith. "Let it be done according to your word." Abraham surrendered when he placed Isaac before God. The promise could not become greater than the promiser. The blessing could not become more important than the Lord who gave it. That moment revealed something powerful. True faith does not worship the gift. True faith worships God. And Jesus in Gethsemane showed the perfect surrender. In deep anguish he prayed, "Not my will, but yours be done." That was not defeat. That was holy obedience. That was the Son trusting the Father even when the road ahead carried pain before resurrection. This is the kind of surrender that changes the soul. Because as long as you must control the outcome, fear will keep ruling your night. Your mind will keep building scenarios. Your heart will keep rehearsing possible losses. Your body may lie down, but your spirit will remain standing guard, trying to protect a future that was never meant to rest on your shoulders. But when you surrender the outcome, you're not saying nothing matters. You're saying, God matters more than my fear. His will matters more than my control. His wisdom matters more than my imagination. His timing matters more than my urgency. His protection matters more than my preference. And there is peace in that place, a deep peace, a peace that does not need to know everything to breathe again. Maybe tonight you are tired because you have been trying to carry the outcome of something God only asked you to entrust to Him. You are trying to control how someone sees you. You are trying to control whether a door opens. You are trying to control what tomorrow brings. You are trying to control the timing of healing, restoration, direction, provision, answers, and change. But the Father is inviting you to rest, not because there is nothing important ahead, but because He is already there. You do not have to stay awake trying to be God over your own future. You have a Father, you have a Shepherd, you have a Savior, you have the Holy Spirit, the Comforter, who knows how to calm the heart in the middle of uncertainty. So tonight, Bring the outcome to the altar, bring the decision, bring the unanswered prayer, bring the person you cannot change, bring the door you cannot open, bring the future you cannot predict, bring the fear that keeps returning before sleep. Bring the dream that became heavy because you started carrying it without surrender. And pray with a sincere heart, Lord, I release the outcome into your hands. I release the need to know how everything will happen. I release the fear of being forgotten. I release the pressure to force what only you can open. I release the pain of what did not go my way. I release my timeline, my control, my anxiety, and my demand for guarantees. Teach me to obey you with a quiet heart. Teach me to trust you when the result is still hidden. Teach me to believe that your way is better than the way I tried to build without peace. As you surrender, notice what begins to happen inside. The soul softens. The mind slows down. The grip of anxiety weakens. The heart remembers that it is not abandoned. The night stops feeling like a battlefield and begins to feel like a shelter under the wings of God. Because surrender makes room for peace. When the outcome is in your hands, fear speaks loudly. But when the outcome is in God's hands, your soul can sleep. That does not mean every question disappears instantly. It means every question is placed under a greater truth. God is faithful. He will not lead you into the right way only to abandon you there. He will not ask for your surrender and then forget your name. He will not prepare your heart through silence, obedience, loss, closed doors, hidden motives, and hidden places just to leave you without purpose. Every test has been shaping something sacred in you. And when God sees that your heart trusts Him more than the outcome, the path begins to open with a peace that fear cannot explain. You may not see the whole road tomorrow, but you may wake up lighter. You may wake up with a quiet conviction. You may wake up with strength to take one step. You may wake up no longer fighting what God has asked you to release. And sometimes that is how direction begins. Not with noise, not with pressure, not with a dramatic sign, but with a calm heart that finally says, Father, I trust you. So rest tonight. Rest from controlling, rest from forcing, rest from trying to predict every ending. Rest from carrying what belongs in the hands of God. May the Lord cover your thoughts with peace. May He guard your sleep from fear. May He place His hand over your heart and remind you that surrender is not losing. Surrender is returning the future to its rightful owner. May your room become a place of divine calm. May your body relax under grace. May your spirit breathe again. May every anxious question be quieted by the presence of the Father. Before God shows you the right way, He may test whether you can surrender the outcome completely to Him. And when the heart finally stops demanding control, it becomes ready to recognize the right way when God reveals it. Because the surrendered soul does not need to force direction. It follows the shepherd with peace. God is not hiding the way, He is preparing you for it. God is not hiding the way from you. He is preparing you to walk in it. And if you have listened this far, maybe something inside your heart has already begun to understand your season differently. Maybe what you called delay was not abandonment. Maybe what you called silence was not rejection. Maybe what you called a closed door was not the end of your story. Maybe what you called loss was the hand of God removing what could not carry you into the place He is preparing. Before God shows you the right way, He tests the heart that will receive the direction. He tests whether you can trust Him in silence, when the answer does not come as quickly as you wanted. He tests whether you can obey without details, when all you have is one step and not the full map. He tests whether you can release false supports, those things, people, fears, and attachments that became louder than His voice. He tests whether you can accept a closed door without letting disappointment become bitterness. He tests hidden motives, not to shame you but to purify what is moving your heart. He tests faithfulness in hidden places, where no one sees, no one applauds, and yet heaven records every act of obedience. and he tests surrender, the deep place where you finally stop demanding control and place the outcome in his hands. This is not punishment. This is preparation. The Father does not prepare you because he is distant. He prepares you because he loves you too much to let you enter the right path with a heart still ruled by fear, pride, anxiety, impatience, or dependence on things that cannot save you. God knows that a door can open too early and crush a soul that is not ready. He knows that a blessing can become an idol if the heart has not been surrendered. He knows that direction without maturity can become confusion. He knows that speed without peace can lead a person into danger. So he slows you down. He searches you. He teaches you. He heals you. He removes what weakens you. He strengthens what no one can see. And tonight, you can stop fighting the process. You do not need to understand every chapter before you trust the author. You do not need to know every answer before you rest in the shepherd. You do not need to force every door, explain every delay, chase every sign, or carry tomorrow in your own hands. The Lord is not sleeping. The Lord is not confused. The Lord is not late. The Lord has not lost the road. He sees what you cannot see. He sees the danger behind the door you wanted. He sees the purpose inside the season you questioned. He sees the maturity being formed in the pain you wanted to escape. He sees the person you are becoming while you wait. And he sees the right way before your feet ever touch it. So tonight, let your soul come home to peace. Lay down the question that has been exhausting your mind. Lay down the fear that tomorrow will arrive without grace. Lay down the thought that you are behind, forgotten, rejected, or too broken to be guided by God. Lay down the pressure to prove that your life still has direction. Your direction is not found in panic. Your direction is found in the presence of God. Say within your heart, Father, prepare me for the right way. Do not only show me the path, make my heart ready to walk in it. Heal what still reacts from fear. Purify what still desires control. Strengthen what became weak through waiting. Restore what was wounded by closed doors. Teach me to hear your voice above every other voice. Teach me to trust you when I cannot see. Teach me to obey when I only have one step. Teach me to rest when the outcome is still hidden. And may the peace of God enter your room tonight like a soft covering over your soul. May every anxious thought become quiet. May every burden lose its weight before the presence of the Father. May every fear about the future bow before the Lord who already holds your tomorrow. May your breathing slow. May your heart soften. May your mind be guarded. May your sleep be blessed. You are not alone in this night. The same God who led Abraham step by step, who remembered Joseph in hidden places, who formed Moses in the wilderness, who saw David in the field, who guided Paul through redirection, and who strengthened his son in surrender, is able to guide you too. He has not forgotten your prayers. He has not wasted your tears. He has not ignored your waiting. He has not abandoned your story. The way may not be fully visible yet, but the shepherd is already near. And when the time is right, what God has prepared will not require you to destroy your peace to receive it. His direction will carry wisdom. His timing will carry purpose. His peace will guard your heart, and even if the next step is small, it will be enough because God walks with those who trust him. So rest now under the care of the Father. Rest knowing that silence can still carry presence. Rest knowing that delay can still carry purpose. Rest knowing that closed doors can still carry protection. Rest knowing that hidden places can still carry preparation. Rest knowing that surrender can still carry victory. God is not hiding the way. He is preparing you for it. And when your heart is ready, he will guide your steps with a peace that fear cannot imitate. If this prayer and message spoke to your heart, write in the comments, Lord, prepare me for the right way. And as you sleep tonight, may the Lord bless you, protect your family, calm your mind, strengthen your faith, and lead you into a new dawn with hope, wisdom, and peace.